Hey guys, so today I'm going to be sharing with you my January wrap up. I feel like this month came to an end so quickly. I was at work today, I just got home and realized I needed to film a wrap up video because I know I fell off the booktube wagon a little bit, but I'm determined to get myself back into it. I had a little bit of a life slump in January, as you will see by my reading, but overall, I'm optimistic. It's gonna get better. I read some really great books. I read 7 books this month, and for each of them, unless they were a series, I posted a review of it on my blog, so I will link that down below in case you want to check any of them out for more details. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right in. The first book that I finished in January was This Is Not a Love Letter by Kim Purcell. This one I picked up because I received an e-arc of it from NetGalley, and I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. This is a young adult contemporary about a girl that's in her late teens, and it is written in letter format to her missing boyfriend. So through these letters, we get the history of their 9-month relationship as well as what's going on during the search for Chris, the boyfriend. And this novel dealt with so many different topics and so many important topics, but each one was dealt with so well. In all honesty, it took me about a third of the way to get into this book, which is why I couldn't give it 5 stars. But once I got into it, I was hooked. This only came out yesterday. So if you're really into like the darker contemporaries, I would recommend picking this up. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. And like I said, I got an e-arc, but I liked it so much, I bought a copy. I read 12 by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a novella that goes with the Natural series, which, as many of you know, is one of my favorite series. This novella in particular takes place about 5 years after where Bad Blood ended off. I really enjoyed this novella, and I really enjoyed getting back into the characters and their dynamics and how well they work together, but I also really enjoyed and appreciated getting the flashbacks to when each of them were 12 years old. We get sneak peeks throughout the series of what they were like as kids and what happened to them in order to grow them into the naturals that they are. So it was so nice to see firsthand what each of them went through and what became of all of that. So yeah, it was a great one to start the year off with, and I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. This is one that I'd been holding on to for so long, and I started reading before I went away on vacation and finished it while I was gone, and it was so painful for me to read. I don't usually have a lot of negative things to say about books because I try to find the best in everything and the silver lining on everything, but this one was just not good for me. So I know this one is very popular as there was the movie adaptation, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but it is another young adult contemporary about a girl named Sam who gets to relive her Valentine's Day for 7 days. And at the end of the first day, she and her friends die, and then she kind of has to figure out what's going on in order to save her friends. And it was just so angsty and so dramatic, and I felt like there really was no plot. I felt like there were no characters. They were just typical and arrogant, and it was just... And then I tried to watch the movie, and I couldn't even finish the movie. So I gave this 1 out of 5 stars, and if you've been following me for a while, you know that's something I never do, but I didn't like it at all. I ended up unhauling it by leaving it and donating it to the library that was on the cruise ship I was on. That's why I don't have it with me. But then I picked up Trouble by Non Pratt, and it made it so much better. I read this book in 2 sittings a while away, and it was so much more than I was expecting. I figured this would just be a light contemporary that I would be okay on because it's kind of rare for a contemporary to blow me away, but this one was everything. Another young adult contemporary because that was the theme for my vacation. This one follows a 15-year-old girl named Hannah who is having fun in her youth and ends up getting pregnant. And then we also follow Aaron, who is new to this school and is trying to become a better person from the past he's running from, and decides to step up and pretend to be this baby's dad in order to take some of the heat off of Hannah. And they just develop a friendship. There is no romance between the 2 characters. It is just about how important it is to have such a good friend like they are. Some of my favorite things about this novel is that it is written in diary format, so we get both Hannah and Aaron's perspectives, which I think is really important in a story like this. And we got it as it was happening instead of after the fact. It was in the moment, on that day, and I don't know, I really liked it. The writing was really good, and this was her debut novel, so I'm blown away by how well she was able to tell this story so effortlessly, and it was just adorable. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it would be meh, but it ended up one of my favorite books. I read The Distance Between Us by Casey West. This was my first time reading Casey West, even though everybody on BookTube has talked about her, and she's written both contemporary and I think dystopian, and I really enjoyed it. This one, again, I read very quickly. I think I read this one in a day, but it was just a cute, fluffy romance. I'm not going to go too much into the plot because it is what it is, but I just thought it was really light and sweet and believable, but also fun to imagine that happening. And I think being in vacation mode helped me enjoy this even more, so I give it 4 out of 5 stars, and I will be reading so many more of her books. So since coming home from my vacation, I have been working many more hours than I had originally planned to. Life happens and it sucks. I'm exhausted all of the time, and unfortunately my reading has suffered from that. But I've only finished 2 books in like 2 weeks, which is really unfortunate and very unlike me, but I'm hoping to turn it around, and I read some good books. The first one being Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling, illustrated by Jim Kay. I was going to read the second one for AYearAthon when our theme was Harry Potter, but I ended up getting this at the library to get the illustrated edition, and I'm so glad that I did. I'm obsessed with these illustrated editions. I think that they add so much more to the story, which is already amazing. But yeah, it took me a lot longer to read than I would have liked to, and I think because I was so busy, but it's also not my favorite book in the series. I feel like there isn't as much development in the world or the characters as there are in the other novels. So it's still great, it's still amazing, but 4 out of 5 stars. And then the last book that I read in January is the one that I finished while on break at work today, and that is Meet Cute, Some People Are Destined to Meet, edited by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So this is a young adult anthology that was only released on January 2nd, and if you watched my most anticipated video, you would know that it was on it. So this anthology includes 14 stories from young adult authors just on how they met stories. So some were better than others. I do have a couple favorites, but on my blog I linked each novel individually, so I will definitely leave that down below. I definitely loved Cass Morgan's, I think, the best. Yeah, hers was one of my favorites for sure, and that was really exciting. I love anthologies because you get to discover new authors, and I definitely found myself a few that I want to check out, so I'm glad I picked this up. And it was nice because it was just little stories that I could read every day or so. So I really enjoyed it. Overall, all of my 14 ratings evened out to 3.2 out of 5 stars. So 3 out of 5 stars. It was good. So yes, that was all of the books that I read in January. So I'm sorry that I've been kind of out of it, both on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube, but I'm getting my life back together. I am putting my focus back into myself and on my channel. I am going to New York in May with Carrie for BEA, so that's really exciting. And I have so many review books that I need to read and review before they come out. And then I have my February TBR, which has books from my January one carried over. So yes, I'm getting excited. So hopefully you guys are excited. I will be posting my February TBR tomorrow. And then on Monday, I have a book haul. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of those. And yeah, make sure you let me know what you read in January and what your favorite book of the month was. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.